The last 3 years I haven't even been here, so to come out and to be in the final is just an unbelievable feeling and dream come true, really.
It's been such a tough year, but to win a fourth it would be incredible.
You really have to earn your chances against him. He won't give them to you. He doesn't miss easy balls and give you chances. You have to go out and earn them.
He's having the time of his life and he's young, he's great for the game, and I'll just go out there and enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
That's what I kind of got into snooker for, just liven it up a little bit, go for my shots and entertain the crowd, really.
If you can produce your best here and the crowd right on top of you, there's no other venue like it.
Good afternoon. All 4 sessions in this Betfred.com World Championship final have been a sellout for months, and the atmosphere in this little Crucible theatre in Sheffield is building ahead of the first of them. But the atmosphere has been tinged with sadness at the news today of the death of Ted Lowe, one of the most iconic broadcasters associated with the sport. Whispering Ted, as he was known, passed away this morning at the age of 90, but his hushed tones will forever be associated with some of the most dramatic moments in the sport, most notably the 1985 final. We'll be paying tribute to Ted in a few moments' time. But I'm sure he would have approved of our line-up in this final, which pits arguably the most complete all-rounder in the history of the game, 3-time world champion John Higgins, against snooker's new pot idol, 21-year-old Judd Trump, an outrageously talented player and a force of nature in the same way that was Hurricane Higgins and Whirlwind White. Well, it's taken 15 days of nerve-shredding tension, but here's how they got here.
Well, I'm inside the commentary box with the first 2 men who will describe the action on today's final. Dennis Taylor, the 1985 champion, and 7-time Crucible champion Stephen Hendry. Stephen, first of all, Judd Trump, the youngest Crucible finalist since yourself back in 1990. Can you give us an idea of what he's going through at the moment?
I bet he's in there and he cannot wait to get out there and get started. That's how I feel. It's just so thrilling. You know, all your life's ambitions to play in the Crucible and then be in the World Championship final. I bet he just can't wait.
Well, guys, just thanks for the moment. We heard from Hazel earlier that Ted Lowe sadly passed away at the age of 90. Well, I think it's fair to say that it's inside the Crucible commentary box that the great man made his name.
They called him the Wonder Bairn of Scotland. Just the last red now. And there's a rather sad picture. Stephen Hendry, world's #1 star.
And what a miraculous performance by a 23-year-old boy from Scotland. With victory at 18 frames to 14 after 10 consecutive victories in frames. No. Fabulous picture of a very happy and popular man.
Well, Dennis Taylor, that famous night in 1985, Ted Lowe very much part of it.
Absolutely, and I'll always remember Ted's words throughout that. He used to call me the 36-year-old smiling Irishman. I will always remember Ted for that. And I was very fortunate to have been asked to commentate over 30 years ago. Someone had taken ill at the UK Championship, and they asked me would I go into the commentary box. And I was sitting next to the great man Ted Lowe, and he seen me through that session, told me when to speak, and he helped to launch my commentary career.
And Stephen, your memories of Ted Lowe?
The first time I actually met Ted, I was playing in Junior Pot Black. I was only 14, and he was a complete gentleman. Me and my father were down there, and he was just so nice to us, made us feel so welcome.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, before play gets underway this afternoon, we will have a minute's applause in memory of the legendary snooker commentator Ted Lowe, who sadly passed away this morning. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A fitting tribute to a brilliant broadcaster, and we move on exactly as he would have wished. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. After 15 days of competition, it's time for the big one. Welcome to the final of the 2011 Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. This is a match that has captured the imagination. The banter has been going all day here in Sheffield, so it could be a cracker. Without any further ado, let's get the boys on the bays. Please welcome a young man with the world at his fingertips. He has been an absolute revelation over the last 2 weeks. His win over Ding yesterday was one of the best semi-finals ever seen here at the Crucible. It all started a month ago today when he won the China Open. This is the biggest match of his career so far. Please welcome the ace in the pack, Judd Trump! And his opponent, a player who has demonstrated huge mental strength on and off the table for the last 6 months. He never knows when he's beaten. With 23 ranking event titles to his name, he's here bidding for a 4th World Championship crown. He is without doubt one of the finest sportsmen Scotland has ever produced. Can he climb the mountain once more here in Sheffield? Ladies and gentlemen, the Wizard of Wearshaw, John Higgins!
All the best, John. Have a great final. Farewell.
So a thunderous ovation for both players, and fittingly for whispering Ted Lowe as well. So it's the Wizard against the Whiz Kid. Higgins playing in his 5th Crucible final, Judd Trump in his 1st. Stephen and Dennis, what a story it's going to be, no matter who wins.
Couldn't agree more, Hazel. An absolutely cracking final we're in for here. Experience against youth. And the family taking their little picture there just before the final gets underway. And wouldn't Ted Lowe love to have commentated on this player? Some of the balls he's knocked in this year's World Championship have been exceptional. And there's the Crucible Theatre. Stephen, it doesn't get any better than this. You won 7 titles there.
John Higgins to break.
Yeah, I'm only sick that I'm not out there competing, Dennis. This is the best stage to play snooker, without a doubt. Final day, the Crucible Theatre. It's very interesting to see how Judd copes against John's game. Obviously, John is renowned as one of the greatest tactical players. He still plays a very aggressive game, but great to see how Judd copes with it.
Well, that was a half chance for Judd, and if the red goes past the yellow, it's the first chance for John Higgins. Wasn't the best break-off shot by John, bringing a red up. Should be able to hold for the blue.
One.
So it's John Higgins then who puts the first ball in this year's World Final. Well, he's overdone that. Played for the red to the left of the cue ball, just overscrewed it slightly. Left with a rather difficult cut now.
Yeah, he had a pretty good angle in the blue to go into the pink there and split the reds, but first shots in the final, obviously you want to get your cue arm moving a bit, but he did have a decent angle.
Well, this red he's looking at, the angle seems to be taking the white into the red, so the positional side of it is going to be a little bit tricky. And it's a little bit tricky now, I can tell you. He's going to need the spider with an extension on it. The black's the only ball he can hit. Okay, he doesn't have to do a great deal, but if he wants to try and get back down the table, as we show you that red dropping in, he's going to need a little bit of assistance. Can he manage it with the normal spider? Verhaas having a close look to make sure he doesn't foul the reds. No, that was a difficult shot.
John Higgins,
he tried to put a good safety in rather than just play onto the back cushion here, and Judd Trump has a chance. Hit that too thick. Now, I wonder would Judd play a cannon on the black here. He's quite an aggressive young player. This be interesting to see if he tries to free that black. No, he's just played to get on the blue, and an early sign of a little bit of tension, which is understandable. He's the wrong side of the blue. I think he's got to get off to a good start. There's our player's view there. As you can see, no angle on the blue. Look at this for a shot he's taking on.
green ball.
Have a look at this shot. And have a look at this cue ball. Tell you what, Stephen, not a lot of players in the game that took that on.
That was phenomenal cueing. To say that the ready just potted, hit that poorly to finish short in the blue, but to hit that green so well. It's not out of the woods yet. This is tough to get in a colour.
Judd Trump, 4.
Well, he tried another very difficult positional shot, but he usually keeps very still on the shot. Just a little bit of movement there. Can't afford to hit the ball colours against a young potting machine like Judd. You leave him half a chance at anything, and you know he's going for it. Let's see how well he can cue this one. He's got to be a bit nervous. I mean, first time in the World Championship final. It's a big, big couple of days for the young player. If he was to win, Stephen, I think you were just slightly younger than Judd. He wouldn't be the youngest ever, would he?
I think about 4 months. There's about 4 months in it. But these are the shots that he's going to have to get right over the next 2 days if he's going to beat John Higgins. Already he's caught that red much too thick. He's okay, he's not left anything, but he's going to consistently have to get the white back to that bulk cushion when he does play a safety. He won't play many safety shots, but when he does, he's going to have to play good ones. I also don't think he should change his game though, Dennis, to play John. His game is what's got him to the final.
Yeah, look at the stats there. The tournament pot success rate. He's 1% ahead of John Higgins. And the long pot success rate, he's ahead of John also in that department. And surprisingly, the tournament success safety rate equal. Well, there's a
foul.
Trick shot and a half.
John Higgins 4.
Hardly hit that, and he screwed it back into the pocket. I mean that is phenomenal. Just to cue the ball like that. It's all about timing. You don't want to screw it into the pocket, obviously. But a bit of an awkward frame with the black safe on the side cushion and the pink off its spot. That's a useful flick off the green. I think he's got a full ball snooker. No problem though, just off the side cushion. There you see the snooker. Yeah, he's going to find himself on that balk cushion quite a bit, Judd. I think he knows that anyway. He knows he's up against one of the best tacticians the game's ever seen. He's okay, even though he caught the pink again. He is trying to get the cue ball back to the ball cushion, but I don't think this red pot's the one to the right of the bunch. I'm not sure. Maybe it does. And if it does, well, clearly it does. he'll be opening up that bunch of reds and screwing back to leave himself hopefully on the blue. Bit of a quick one there. Now it will help having the pink back on its spot. The only problem with the pink going on its spot, those two reds to the left of the three are available to the left corner. When the pink goes on its spot, it's going to make those two a little awkward. So we might play for the red that's to the right of the black spot. Normally you'd stun over and leave those two, but the pink's got to go back on its spot.
Pink ball.
That's the one he's played for.
Seven.
Probably see a screw back here with plenty right hand side. Bring the white out for the pink into the same pocket. Or up for the blue.
8.
I think that's a light white, Dennis.
Stephen says it's a light white. That sometimes you get that in a set of balls, and it's so easy to screw the ball if the cue ball is lighter than the others. But Judd makes it look as if there's a light white because the action
13.
he gets on the cue ball is quite amazing.
14.
And this is exactly what I wanted in the first frame. Get some nice easy pots around the pink or the black. Get your arm moving.
He is a delight to watch, this young player, and he got such a reception. Both players did, but
20.
He got a terrific cheer when he came into the Crucible arena. They really have warmed to him. We've known about
21.
Judd for, well, ever since he turned professional, but it's taken him a while to establish himself, and winning in China really has brought him on, and he's been a revelation throughout this year's World
27.
Championship. He really has. I think we're
28.
saying, Stephen, the shot of the championship, if there was 10 shots, he would have won the lot.
Just didn't judge that cannon. Want to have more or fuller contact on the red that he cannoned there.
34.
That's end of break, I think.
Yeah, he might have tried to chip the one in along the cushion, but because of the red up the other end of the table, it's not really a shot to nothing. And you just never know with this young player. He feels he can pot anything on the table. Just like that.
35.
I'll tell you what, he's proving to be a very, very popular player.
Bramble.
A little bit unfortunate to finish straight in this red. Again, it was tremendous cue power to force the white of two cushions.
Yep.
Clever shot.
40.
Meant to use the red there to try and bring the white out. And this is a tough pink in the middle. We all know he likes to punch balls into pockets. This is one that he's going to have to drop in.
Yeah, quite a bit of pressure on this. He's built up a nice lead in this opening frame, and he has to pot this. As you say, doesn't like dropping them in, Stephen. He likes to punch them in, but is this red cuttable?
46.
Yeah, I think 95% of professionals would have rolled that pink into the middle. That's the way Judd plays. I can't criticise him from the commentary box.
Well, you could for that shot. He's going to hit the black, give 7 away, but he might be lucky. He might have covered that red that's over the corner pocket. It was a very thin snick required, but no, he hasn't covered it. But not easy to get nicely on the pink.
One.
It was difficult, that. There is a possibility of the pink into the middle pocket, but he's looking at the long blue.
Blue ball. John Higgins, 1.
Well, as we mentioned at the start, John, the more experienced of the two, but he looks slightly more edgy than Judd does.
I think sometimes, obviously, John's won the World Championship 3 times already, but because he's been here and it's as if he knows what he needs to do to win the World Championship, it means more because he'd been here before. Judd's in the unknown. He's just loving every minute of it. I actually said to John, do you remember when it was just fun playing? Rather than under the pressure that's in the final of the World Championship.
And what about that shot? He played that with his opposite hand. I think a lot of the people maybe didn't realise that. He got down right-handed and he looks pretty good, and he pots the red, screws back for the blue. That's a bit unlucky.
6.
37, the difference. A red, and the pink would have left John needing a snooker, but the other red has blocked his path.
And this is the times of frames, I think, which are vital for Judd if he's going to win this World Championship. John Higgins is so good at winning frames. The last 3 or 4 reds, forcing mistakes out of his opponent, then dishing up.
Judd Trump, 6.
All the colours are in potable positions. Judd could do with a colour near a cushion as a little bit of insurance. It looks fairly fresh, John, in the semi-final with Mark Williams. You know, mentally it does take it out of you here. 17 days at the Crucible. It's a long stint.
Yeah, it's a very long tournament, but I always think the fact that you're in the final soon freshens you up. You walk out into this arena to the applause that these two guys got at the beginning. I think your mind just starts all over again.
Yeah, even if you don't sleep, you're still you're full of adrenaline, and tiredness is the last thing on your mind.
And first mistake in the safety battle by Judd. It's a chance of a pot here from John. Doesn't need to do too much with the cue ball. Should be on the green, should he pot it. In fact, he played it with more pace to come back.
I thought the brown was going to go in. Now will we see a Judd Trump special here? John sits down after that attempted pot. Well, didn't get near the pocket. He hasn't settled yet.
He's looked at the red closest to the green, which passes to the corner pocket, but that's a smelly one at this stage of the frame. Playing it slow along the cushion.
Would you believe it? He's covered the brown. But he potted that red. He made it look so easy. I think the pockets on this table are bigger for Judd than everybody else.
Definitely, Dennis, definitely. The fact that he's left-handed makes this yellow a comfortable shot for him. Just stand down for the red on the baulk cushion.
Three. Four.
Well, that should settle Judd down, and the family there, well, his friend on the right looks more relaxed than he did in the semi-final. When Judd was playing ding, he had his head in his hands throughout the match. He didn't see much of that.
7.
Thanks, Judd.
8.
Playing one of his usual
8 in the first frame.
exhibition shots because the frame is over. John stays in his seat. It's the best possible start for this young man from Bristol. He takes the opening frame in this year's World Final.
Yes, and just showing what he can do right and left-handed in that one, guys. What for you are the most important factors which might decide the outcome of this final? John?
Judd Trump's safety play. I know that sounds daft because he pots balls off the lampshade, but if he can match John in some respect, I mean, obviously he can't really match him because Higgins is a master tactician, but if his safety play is competent enough not to keep putting him in trouble, he's got a very big chance in the final.
Is there a danger, Steve, that up against a man of John Higgins' tactical nous, somebody like Judd's natural attacking flair might be curbed or at least just subdued?
Well, obviously it depends on Judd Trump, but there are people around who think that Judd Trump may well swamp John Higgins in this final. So it's not just about John Higgins is the master that's got to be kept under wraps. There are other views as well. And there's a few people thinking that Judd's on the verge of pushing things to another level and that John can't hold him. I haven't got a clue. Really don't know.
Which is why a start like this is so important for the youngster to get off the mark and running here.
Absolutely. This first session is very, very important. In any final it is. The World Final, for him the first time, it's massive to get a good start.
We've got a pulse question for you. Who will be the world champion? Vote on bbc.co.uk/ and click on pulse.
It was interesting in between the frame. The referee was resetting the balls, Dennis. John Higgins was very, very quiet in his chair, and Judd was looking around, smiling and laughing at everybody. He's having the time of his life out there.
Yeah, I think he probably was looking up at his family, wasn't he? And he knows where they're sitting. And he was smiling up at them, and they're smiling back at Steve, Georgina, and Jack, his brother.
Foul. And a miss. John Higgins 1, Judd Trump 4.
Miscalled, but knowing Judd, he may elect to take this pot on rather than put John back in. Nice little angle on the middle pocket to leave him perfectly on the blue.
Another chance to see the excellent cue action.
6.
Judd Trump here. I don't think he'll play for the black, although he's sizing it up. I thought he was going to pot this red and screw back for the blue. Depends what angle he's got.
Seven.
That was a brilliant shot. Makes this black so much easier, the fact that he's closer to the black.
$14.
Into the second frame. It looks nice and relaxed now, Dennis.
19. Sorry, 20. 21.
Well, we asked you a pulse question. Who will be the world champion this year? Let's have a look. Oh, 71% think that Judd Trump's going to win. 29% John Higgins. Now that is surprising. They obviously have taken to this young man, and a lot of people voting, hoping that he wins. They may be right.
A couple of loose reds, but I think we'll probably go into the pack here. He's got a perfect angle in the black. We always knew he had the red over the yellow pocket. There's a bit of insurance.
28.
You could see the arc on that cue ball there.
29. Thank you.
Well, John can't do much about this. He's going to have to just play a bit better safety. He was unlucky here. He potted the red, cannoned the black, and to leave himself snookered virtually on everything was a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, we've all been concentrating on Judd and whether he makes a good start. And John's got to make a good start as well, Dennis.
Well, yeah, he may be 3 times a world champion, but that won't stand for anything here as far as this young man's concerned.
It's amazing, a match with 35 frames long.
35.
Until you've got that first frame on the board, you don't really feel that you're in the match. It was a little bit edgy.
$36.
Couple of reds he can play on here, but you know what Judd's like. He loves to get into them if he can get a chance. And he will be able to do that this time, although a little bit further would have been better. But he's got an angle to pot this red and go into the bunch. But he doesn't want to lose the cue ball here. And that was the problem
42.
with that shot. The white seemed to just stick there. He had lots of topspin, but this time it didn't carry on through. Well, the white jumped, that's why it didn't carry on through. The white jumped in the air, you could clearly see there. Any colour that he nominates here, if he doesn't hit it, it would be called a miss. You'd think he'd play the yellow.
Yellow ball.
And he has nominated the yellow. And that's not far away.
Judd Trump, 42.
Bit of a bonus to get it half balled and leave it near the cushion. It was a tough one just to hit, never mind get safe.
That was a really helpful kiss in the green for John. This is tough to get safe. Might just have to bring the red up and down the table and leave the white near the black, or he could always put himself out of trouble, I suppose. No, he's played the containing safety. Safe in the knowledge that no reds went in the left centre.
This is a pretty good cue ball here. This second frame panning out much the same as the opening frame. Judd getting a lead, John looking for a chance to get back into the frame. And that's a mistake. And the red has gone next to the black to hamper it slightly. Well, this is an interesting choice. Can he cut this one in? I think, yeah, it clips into the middle.
One.
Didn't quite hit that hard enough. That was a great chance to take the second frame had he have dropped on the green there.
Judd Trump one.
He needed just to send it a little bit further that to make him hampered on this red, this near the right corner. I think John can cue at the side of the yellow. Judd was just trying to leave him in what we call as a Chinese snooker, where you're bridging right over the ball. But I think he can cue to the side of this. Well, he's slightly hampered.
One.
He's on that green this time. And he's got quite a margin for error to put the cue ball. Anywhere over near the circle, he's got a choice of 3 or 4 reds. Well, the nudge on the pink has helped. Without that, it could have been a little bit awkward.
25.
It'll have to be the brown to get back for the 3 reds. It's got a perfect angle on that. I think the reds go into both corner pockets. So a wide target here.
Nine.
He doesn't look phased at all, does he, Stephen? He looks very comfortable out there, and as you say, he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, and he managed to win the first frame, which obviously calmed him down straight away. But watching Judd play, and he hits the ball very hard. You watch how still his head is. Incredible.
Just have to measure it, Judd.
The frame well and truly over now. Jan Verhaas just checks the black spot. So
17.
Pink's the highest available. So John
18.
Higgins hasn't had a shot in the balls yet. He had one pot where he cannoned the black and snookered himself, which was a bit unlucky.
$25. $26.
Be interesting to see if he does try a few exhibition shots here now that the frame is safe. He loves to do that. He's a born entertainer. There you go. He was born to pot snooker balls, this man. This red can go
29.
anywhere. A delicate one, and it's pretty close, but it's not just hard enough. So no really big breaks. Judd Trump had a 46 in the opening frame, a 42 in that frame, and I'm not surprised John Higgins is leaving the arena. This young player has taken the 2 opening frames.
Yes, Higgins gone out for a little think, one would suspect, because Steve, when you think about what John joked last night, he said he wasn't sure where he could leave the white ball on the table because nowhere is safe. But the serious point here is that he's up against a man, and he too is going into the unknown, isn't he?
Yes, I mean, if you made the analogy with boxing, you can imagine 2 boxers that had never fought each other, but one was a new up-and-coming boxer that everybody was talking about. Everybody said punched harder than anybody had ever believed possible. And all of a sudden, the other guy is sitting there waiting. I wonder what I'm going to get. I wonder what it's like. So all the talk has been about Judd Trump's got to get his safety up to scratch to cope with the great John Higgins. But there are problems for John as well, not knowing what he's going to be up against today.
And to be fair, John, this is exactly the situation that faced Graham Dott. Everyone expected a really hard, gritty battle against a supreme tactician in Graham Dott, and it just never happened.
Well, if the 2 games are similar, you couldn't get 2 games more similarly. Graham Dott and John Higgins, we practiced together and everything. And Graham Dott's hard and gritty and tenacious. He's been in 3 finals since 2004, and he absolutely blew him away in the first session. So it can be done. But we've got a shot in the last frame, Hazel, he played, which is just ridiculous. He's made the table look like a pool table here. I mean, that is a really difficult shot on these pockets, and he's drilled it in 100 mile an hour and screwed into the pack. I mean, he's so accurate with his potting.
We've talked about some of the outrageous pots that he's pulled off, and have you seen more from this fella than we've had in, well, I don't know, really since Jimmy White was around in his prime?
Yes, as we said a couple of days ago, yeah, we've been trying to pick shots for shot of the championship, you know, the best shots of the 2 weeks, and it's turned into the Judd Trump show.
Well, I wonder whether John Higgins can turn it around into the Higgins show.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if John Higgins does exactly that, but in the meantime, it's more or less the identical break-off to his very first shot where he brought the red down, but this time maybe Judd can't see that red. Not quite, he'd have to bend it slightly to pot it, that is. He tried it. Look at the side on the cue ball, he tried to bend that and create the potting angle. Now John, as we show you that one more time, that red that's finish there. John could possibly try and pot this and could finish on the black. I think it's a natural angle just to slip past the red that's to the left of the bunch if he does pot it. He did slip past the red, and he is on a colour, and there's 3 or 4 loose reds. So this is the first real chance that John Higgins has had.
Four. Five.
Just a delicate little cannon needed here.
$12. $13.
The pink won't go. There's the long blue. Still hasn't settled, John.
John Higgins, 13. $8. $9.
Well, just watch this shot. It's a tough bunch to go into because they're all flat there at the back. Now watch how he plays this, and we'll see a bit of cue power here. Look at the white. It might be okay. This might be a dead straight red up into the corner.
16.
White stops, and then all of a sudden spins back, and he's finished dead straight on this red.
$17.
It doesn't happen very often, Stephen, but sometimes you get a player that can take his practice game out into the match arena, and he's one of the players that can do that.
Yeah, definitely, Dennis. I'm sure this is exactly the same game he plays when he's in practice, playing against other professionals that he practices with. Whereas most players will change their game when they get in the match arena. I think as your career progresses and you get older, you do tend to temper your game a little bit. You know, as you start to get punished more often when you do miss, you start to
25.
have little doubts about taking the dodgy shots on. But at the moment, he's playing with no fear at all.
Yeah, I think moving from Bristol to Romford has been a big help to Judd. He practices at the Grove Snooker Academy in Romford. And O'Sullivan practices there also, along with quite a few professionals. And I think that's the reason that Judd is now playing so well and fulfilling his potential.
Some big ginger bloke used to play there as well, didn't he?
Oh, the big ginger. Who was that? Oh, yeah. The Nugget. Steve Davis, eh?
37.
Quick look at the scoreboard, but he's only 24 in front, and that didn't quite work out. He's dying to take this red to the middle pocket. Cannon the other two reds, finish in the black, but this is a good choice here, I think.
Judd Trump, 37.
Keeping things tight. He knows John hasn't settled yet. Yeah, he just got too much screw on that one.
He's growing in confidence all the time. Another great long pot.
Pink ball. Judd Trump 1.
Well, he hasn't missed much.
That's amazing though. The first time he's trying to float a ball in, he's missed it.
Good cueing there from John Higgins. And as Stephen says, you never really settle till you get your first frame on the board. It's not going to be easy with the two reds tied up on the side cushion.
$15. Yeah, I've seen it. He's gone.
8 frames to be played in this opening session. 9 this evening.
$16.
You could see John pointing at the red, so he's already 2 or 3 shots ahead.
May decide to play a cannon off this shot.
22.
The nearest of the two reds to the red he's playing. He could play off the cushion and cannon that, and hopefully finish on the green or the brown. I don't think he's playing it though. Going to leave an angle on, well, blue it looks
23.
like. He's finished a bit straight.
Yeah, the brown obviously doesn't pass the green, otherwise you'd have left an angle on the brown to move one of the reds, but he's got a slight angle, you have to force it. He's a bit unlucky there. Like very unlucky. Once he got
28.
the cannon, in fact he hit both reds and didn't push any of them on.
John Higgins, 28.
Needs that red to pull up because he hasn't got in behind the green. This is not an easy pot by any means. It's just off straight and only slightly off straight. If he runs this through, you got to be accurate. If you hit it a little bit full, every chance the white could go in instead of the red. That's why he's playing it with a touch of screw or stun here. You can see that white bouncing along and then the red bouncing when it hit the jaws of the pocket. Never realised all those years ago when you play a shot like that how many times the white leaves the bed of the table before it gets to the object ball, Stephen.
I think what Judd's got to concentrate on in these safety battles is just get it safe. I think if he tries to be too clever, you know, he might come unstuck. That's fine. That's safe. As long as he keeps getting it safe, it's going to put more pressure on John's safety play. Because John knows that Judd's going to go for any pot that he sees. So his safety is going to have to be as good as he can play it as well.
Got to be a wee bit careful if he's sending the red around the angles. It looks as if he's doing that. Beautifully played. That is one of the finest shots you wish to see. Judged to perfection, that one. And Judd Trump came to the table and tapped it with his cue. You won't see a better safety than that. I'll just show you that one more time. He had to avoid the black. He had to avoid the pink. Beautiful shot. Judd doesn't really want to remove the red that's near the cushion, but may try to go twice across and land on it. That's nearer to the yellow than the red.
Foul. And a miss.
But maybe worth having a couple of goes at this because he doesn't want to be playing the one next to the blue. He'd stick that on.
Look at that, Judd.
That's the shot he was playing, and he's got to get so much side on the first part of it. And you'd have to go, just see where he's striking down on to try and make the angle. Is it hard enough?
Foul.
It's certainly closer.
John Higgins, 4.
He's a bit lucky he's finishing short, Dennis. If he hits it a bit harder on that line, he's going to leave the red. So he either has to aim slightly further up the cushion or put a little bit more side on to make the angle to hit the red.
Sorry. Okay. John?
I've just readjusted the line. Let's see if it's a bit better this time. And maybe he's left it this time.
And a miss.
But John
Higgins,
he's
4.
quite happy to sit there and get these penalty points.
I know John's got Judd snookered here, but he had a chance to snooker him again there and instead leave the red in the middle of the table if he'd played that red full ball.
Okay, John.
This way, as long as Judd keeps missing it, he's not going to leave the red.
Foul. And a miss. John Higgins, 4.
That's another 4 points. Now, he was almost there, with the previous attempt. I'll just stick the line in one more time because I'm nearly certain if he can get it on that line, he definitely will hit it. But that was always going to be the problem. And if John can't get on a colour, he can pot the red and roll tight up behind the yellow.
One.
Well, look, behind the green will do, or he could play the green and in behind the brown.
Bramble.
He's playing the brown.
John Higgins, 1.
Just putting the brown out of commission has a little bit of insurance. He's got a 20-point advantage, but I know he's got the brown safe, but tight in behind one of the colours there, he could have got a few more penalty points, and Judd would have needed snookers.
Absolutely, Dennis. It wouldn't. The red was far from easy to hit, being so close to the blue. It shows you John's under pressure. He's trying to put colour safe already, and he's only 20 points in front. So perhaps he's not even playing his natural game at the minute.
Well, he may attempt a double here. If he could double this, get on the black, Judd would need a snooker. Good chance this.
One.
I think he concentrated so much in the double, just forgot about the cue ball. Good double though.
John Higgins, 1.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judd.
Well, this is a tough pot. It's not an easy safety, so he probably will take the pot on. But this is far from easy. Needs a good cueing for this one. And that's good cueing.
2.
Very accurate cueing there. Still needs the green. Missed it.
John Higgins, 2.
There was no pressure in that one really, because the brown was safe. He only needed the green. That was a surprising miss.
Yeah, and again, he played it with a little bit negativity, but he tried to put the pink safe at the same time as potting the green. Why not just pot the green? Judd's thinking of a way he can pot this green and get in the brown.
ahead in the long pot success department. This is a good shot. If it flicks the pink, it's even better. Oh, what's dropped on the table? You got something on the left side of the table? Well, Jan Verhaas quickly got rid of it. It came from the heavens of the Crucible. Ah, where's that come from?
Again, there's not much value in taking the pot on. He's not going to get close to the brown. So, we're playing a safety shot here, I think.
He's got to be careful. If he's trying to get in behind the pink, he's got to make sure he keeps the green safe. And I think that's much better than trying to get a snooker.
Yeah, that was a case of just concentrating on getting it safe, Dennis, wasn't it? I'm not trying to be too clever. John only needs the green.
Once again, if he takes the chance to try and get the snooker, he's got to be careful he doesn't push the green on. He may have left John a path through to pot the green. It's so important to keep the object ball safe.
Yeah, just needed a dab of right hand side there, didn't they? So when the white hit the cushion, it would just move to the left in behind the black. John will definitely go for this because the brown's safe.
Yeah, that's a great shot from John Higgins. That'll make him feel much more comfortable out there. Once again, very good cueing. So, John Higgins does get his first frame on the scoreboard, and now he can relax a little bit. He looked a little edgy, and Judd Trump had his chance to maybe go 3-0 in front, but now you see John Higgins starting to settle down now. No big breaks.
12 in the frame. John
It was
Higgins.
a 37 by Judd Trump. But it was John Higgins in the end who took the frame, and he will have settled down now, but it's still 2-1 to Judd.
Well, it's his 5th World Championship final, gentlemen, but I suppose that you never really feel absolutely assured about how things are going to go until you get the first frame. Just describe the kind of relief that he'll be feeling about that, Steve.
Well, he's been here before. He knows the significance of, of making sure that he's off the mark. It's unlikely, I think, that John Higgins gets taken apart by any player completely, but even so, walking out just to sort of compose himself. It wasn't a clean cut frame, but he'll still be pleased.
There was a little instance there with Judd Trump snookered 6 attempts to actually hit it. Maybe a little example of what we were talking about potentially a tactical battle between them.
Yeah, the situation he was in, he's playing the right shot. It's just there's no way in the world he's going to play the red that's next to the blue, so he's got to play the right one. It's just a matter of judging it. It can get a little embarrassing if you keep doing it all the time. I think I commentated on one where there was 48 points given Mark King against Stephen Lee. It just kept playing the same shot, but nice to get it over with when he finally hit it.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I'm sure that the sweat starts to build up. You start to get a bit hot under the collar when you just can't hit it, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it was the right shot, you know, so that's the one he had to play.
Okay. In general, what do you make of the start and the quality of what we've seen so far, Steve?
Well, a little bit
Thank you,
tentative
Dean. Fourth
from
frame.
John Higgins, and obviously the
Judd
lads in the
Trump.
commentary box picked up on some of the shot selection that he's usually so strong at, and some of the surprises in the tactical department. But well, there's a long way to go in this match.
Best of 35 frames, remember, there's an interval coming after this one.
I think I mentioned in an earlier round about the great Jack Nicklaus talking about the Masters, and he said patience is a great thing to win the Masters. I suppose it is to win the World Championship snooker.
Absolutely, and that last frame was almost 25 minutes long. I don't know how many frames in this championship Judd's had that's lasted that long, but he won't be favourite to win those frames. So those are the frames he's going to try and pinch off John as much as possible, because he's going to win a lot of frames with big breaks, putting fantastic shots.
One red that John might be able to take on as a shot to nothing, but he's just coming around now to have a look at it. It obviously won't go, so he's playing the outside of the red just to get back to the safety zone. That's the red I thought John might be able to take on as a shot to nothing, but maybe he felt he was going to cannon the one that he eventually played down the table of. Oh, that seems to be just curling slightly.
Oh.
It looked as if it was going to the
Judd Trump.
left jaw of the pocket on the way down. But the tables have played beautifully throughout this year's World Championship. They really have been very quick. A long way off. And that's the reason he's nowhere near leaving himself on the black. Usually so strong at this type of shot, but look with the redhead.
Yeah, a long way off there. You can see the disappointment. He expects to pot probably 99% of those. I just wonder, having a 25-minute frame before, if there's going to be a few of those. He's got to try and not let it upset his rhythm and his cue action.
Might just see that cue action here. Another one of these Trump specials. Well, he was going to get down and have a go at this red into the left corner, screw back towards the green, brown and blue. He may still attempt that. Let's watch how he brings this cue ball back.
Watch how still his head is as well.
One.
Doesn't get much better than that. That also shows you how good his temperament is. The shot ago, he missed a long pot by a long way. He was really disappointed. And then the next shot comes to the table and hits it like that. It'd take me 2 hours to get over the first one, Dennis, now I think.
Oh, he slipped through the gap. Is he okay?
Yeah.
He hit the red okay, yeah, no problem, John. You hit the red, but I think you've left a possible pot to the middle pocket, but here we just show you the white coming through and just nudged the red. But if he takes this one to the middle pocket, he'd have to get it, because he'd be leaving John in the balls here. So just a little touch of pressure on this. In fact, the way he's playing is even tougher to knock it in.
1.
He made that look ridiculously easy. Those are not tough pots. One more frame before the mid-session interval, and over these long sessions you play little mini sessions for yourself. 4 frames, you set yourself a target of trying to win them 3-1. And then everything else is a bonus.
I just think he's finished a bit awkward. He can't see the bottom of the 2 reds, I don't think, so can't get on the black with this red, so just stunning for the pink in the middle. We'll leave an angle to open more reds off this pink.
Very clever shot. He had the red for the middle. That's why he decided to open a few more of the reds. He was hoping to be on a red that he developed there, or one of the reds, but he knew he had this one as a little bit of insurance.
16.
He would like the blue back on its spot, but has he got a good enough angle to get up to the reds? There's 3 reds he can get on. There's one at the back of the bunch, goes, and the 2 to the right. And if he could take a 3-1 advantage at the mid-session interval, I think everything would be going according to plan from his point of view.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's missing is winning a frame from 1 visit. I think when he does that, he really will feel he's into the match and relaxed. 3 frames have been a little bit scrappy so far. This is a good chance to win the frame in 1 visit.
Yeah, his semi-final with Ding Junhui was quite incredible. Both players
27.
half a chance. They were scoring enough to win a frame. It really was a bit special. That
28.
one wobbled its way into the pocket. Now he needs a delicate little cannon, but just have a look at this. Any more pace?
Do you know what, Dennis? The cushions were recovered last night. I bet if they weren't, that might have missed. I've seen Mark Williams miss a black off his spot. Hit the exactly same point last night against John Higgins. Sometimes you get a little bit more leeway with the pockets when there's a new cloth in the cushions.
35. $36. $43. $44.
I love this shot as the camera comes in to show you the table, and then you can see how long the table is. It's 12 feet long. People, when they come to the Crucible and get a chance to look at it, can't believe how big the table is. Probably so used to seeing pool tables in pubs. And we can show you that he's the wrong side of the blue there, and he's got to get all the way around the table. Well, he's just going to leave a longish pot. When you can pot like this, young man, you don't have to get so close to them.
49.
But there again, he missed it to that
Judd Trump, 49.
right side of the pocket. And where's this red going to finish? Has he been fortunate? Will it pass the brown? 54 is not enough. If it doesn't go, he'll have to play the snooker.
Foul. And a miss. John Higgins 7. Yeah.
It's an easy escape to come off. Well, he's pointing his cue there to come across and get the red that's near that right corner pocket near Jan Verhaas's hand, but he's frightened of playing that and knocking it into a potable position. And he's got to be careful here also. And he's only just all right. Almost left this red for the right corner. It's difficult. He's smiling there, John, because it's so difficult to see if you can get to the potting angle from that position. You could do with a pair of steps just to get up and have a look at that, but I don't think that would be allowed.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting the spider out, but is he just going to glance off the red and try and just get the white past the black for safety, or does he feel that he can get to the potting angle?
Thank you. One.
Well, he was right in the end. He could see enough of it.
Brown. Five. Six.
Bit of a chance now. There's one red available.
Blue.
He may play the cannon here and try and develop the five reds. And how well did he play that? How well did he play that cannon? Didn't hit it all that hard.
11.
And he got the pink full ball, and that was beautifully played. This is typical
12.
John Higgins, isn't it, Stephen? He could finish up going into the mid-session interval all square.
Yeah, there's no one better in the game at winning frames from 50 and 60 behind. That's what Judd's going to have to be so careful with his positional play when he's in the balls at the start of the frames. He's going to have to concentrate so
19.
hard. He's a little bit careless, got out of position. And now this is a consequence.
20. $27. 28. Yeah.
Well, Well, it's worth showing you this shot one more time because played beautifully and they couldn't have opened up better.
$34.
No big
35.
breaks in this final so far. I'm sure they will get bigger. Judd Trump has had breaks of 46, 42, 37, 49 in this frame here. But this one for John Higgins coming just at the right time.
41. $42.
Doesn't want to be straight on the blue. He played purposely for the blue because it's much easier to get nicely onto the yellow. He just overscrewed it slightly. There you see the angle he's left with. So a key shot coming up, and this is virtually the same yellow that Cliff Thorne had when he made the very
47.
first ever maximum break at the Crucible Theatre all those years ago. It was a similar yellow to this to get onto the green. And John Higgins has played it more or less exactly
49.
the same way that Cliff did. Needs the green,
52.
which is now in the pocket, the brown and the blue, and he'll have pinched this frame. Doesn't want to land on top of the blue.
56.
It's finished a little awkward. He may have to take this up into the corner. A quick look at the scoreboard. Yeah, he can cut it. It's okay. It was a thin one, but it's in. Oh, look at this.
61.
Snookered himself. There's the difference, 14, so he has to hit this. That was the last thing he thought would happen. Safely
John
negotiated.
Higgins, 61.
Barring a snooker, it's going to be 2 each. We call here is in or over. Just roll the pink down towards the corner pocket. Well, it's not in and it's not even over the pocket. It's so difficult to get a snooker when the black's in the middle of the table like that. You want the black near to a cushion.
Yeah, I bet Judd doesn't even much enjoy this this part of the game, Dennis. I know I, for one, would just like to get on with the next frame. Especially when, as you say, where the black is, it's almost impossible to get a snooker. Because John Higgins is so clever, he'll just keep the white and pink so far apart.
This is not a bad effort. Maybe a little bit too hard, but what a good effort this was. Wasn't far away. The other thing that John's got to be careful of here, if he tries to chip the pink, and he's got to keep that cue ball under control. He doesn't want it going anywhere near a pocket. In goes the pink.
And the friend.
Well, it was all Judd Trump at the beginning of this match, but the experienced John Higgins goes to the mid-session interval. All square. It's 2 each.
And perhaps many people watching earlier on might have thought that the scenario Steve describes of John Higgins being swamped might be coming through, but once again the man's tenacity forces him back, John.
He's a wonderfully gritty match player, and he was behind in the frame and managed to claw his way in it. And when you watch John Higgins, you have an inkling that when he's 2-0 down, it's going to be 2-2 at the interval. You just think he's going to find something from somewhere, because he generally does, and I think it's a fair reflection really on what's happened so far.
Steve, what percentage of his best form do you think John Higgins is playing to at the moment, and indeed he has been throughout the championship?
Well, form was only part of the equation really, and it's about character, temperament, and clearing up on the right moment, you know, when the big clearances are needed. So there's only times in your career where you're absolutely flying, where you're totally dominating, but generally you're playing below that standard, but you're getting by because your general standard is very high. So I think that's probably where John Higgins is at. He certainly doesn't seem like he's going to be swamping anybody in this event, and as the standard gets higher amongst all the players, that's more and more unlikely that we're ever going to see that style of snooker again.
So this is what you'd been talking about, a B game, having somewhere to go.
100%, because John Higgins' B game is good enough to beat 95% of the professionals who play in their A game, and that's how good he is. But I agree with Steve entirely. This place here, marathon of mind and a test of character, and John Higgins seems to be able to come up with the answers.
Okay, well, we're 4 frames into it. There's a long way to go. Now, if you're watching at the top of the programme, you'll have seen that we gave you the news of the sad death of Ted Lowe early this morning at the ripe old age of 90. He passed away this morning. And this is the man who was behind the microphone for 50 years, 20 years. He was the voice of snooker, and his gravelly and hushed tones informed some of the most dramatic moments in this sport.
I'm often asked how the whispering came about.
They called him the Wonder Bairn of Scotland.
Without a commentary box, one had to sit in the audience. You've got paying guests either side of you. The great Joe Davis was playing, and I'd only ever called him sir up to that moment, and I couldn't say that on the air, but he was only a couple of feet. So I talked very quietly.
It's very, very sad for me, because it was probably down to Ted Lowe I turned professional. In 1976, they asked me to go on Pot Black. At the time, you know, I was the youngest pro in the world at 21 at the time, and I said, well, I don't think I'm ready. He said, but I want you to go on there, you know, you're young, we need to, like, you know, kick-start it with the young people playing and things, and I turned pro, you know, purely to play on Pot Black, so it's a really sad day for me.
Oh, I say.
Part of our lives. Every snooker player would have at some stage been touched by his words, and he was our John Arlott of the snooker world, and pleasure to have been in his company, and a sad day, obviously.
Just the last red now.
I think every sport needs a voice. You know, cricket had its John Arlott, Wimbledon had its Dan Maskell, we had Ted Lowe, and he just gave it that sort of presence. And I always remember when I was first asked to commentate, and after a couple of days, the producer, Nick Hunter at the time for the BBC, said, how are you enjoying it? I said, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. He said, But you're doing really well, but just to let you know, we've already got one Ted Lowe. And I was doing it, not like me, I was trying to do it like Ted Lowe because that was the standard he set. And it's just a sad day for the game, and what a time for it to happen when one of the most exciting finals we can remember for years, he's going to miss it.
I remember when I started playing snooker way back in the late 50s, early 60s, back in Coal Island, we had a little black and white television in the club I used to play in, and on grandstand you'd have the great Joe Davis playing and Fred Davis playing, and there was this fabulous voice, and it was whispering Ted Lowe all those years ago. And as a little boy, I never ever thought that I'd ever meet these people. And then I finished up commentating with Ted Lowe, who for me had the best voice I think we've ever heard on television.
Well, that can't possibly be. I don't believe that.
Whispering Ted Lowe, you know, he was synonymous with snooker. And yeah, I think if he gave us anything, one word: class.
No.
Ted was the perfect BBC commentator because he didn't try to analyse too much. He was the colour man, and what every sport needs are the people to fill in the gaps and paint the picture, and Ted was great at that.
A fabulous picture of a very happy and popular man.
I think Ted Lowe's legacy will be Whispering Ted Lowe. Everybody, as soon as you say Whispering Ted Lowe, they know who it is, because Ted was the voice of snooker and always will be the voice of snooker.
They called me Whispering Ted, and it's stuck ever since. So I suppose it's right to say I'll now whisper my goodbyes. And thank you so much for having me.
Ted Lowe speaking after he'd retired, but those words particularly poignant on the day he sadly passed away. John, how will you remember him both as a man and a commentator?
Well, he's responsible for me being on the television for the first time because he introduced Junior Pop Black. That was his brainwave, and all the best juniors in the country and indeed the world, some players from Australia, were invited to play on it, and I was lucky enough to win and realised that that's what I wanted to do. I could play on television, and it was down to him. That was his idea.
What were his main strengths, do you reckon, as a broadcaster?
Well, he understood the value of silence in creating the drama, and I think he raised snooker commentary into an art form, and it's a special thing to do because it's a different game to most, and he understood how to get the best out of the audience at home.
You know, a couple of years ago he did an interview with BBC Berkshire. I was looking it up on the internet this morning, and he said, I often think of the likes of Henry Longhurst, John Arlott and Peter O'Sullivan. They're wonderful voices who you always refer to if you had any interest in their sport. I sincerely hope that that will happen in my case when people remember that Whispering Ted Lowe bloke off the snooker. We sure will. Well, I'm sure Ted certainly would have enjoyed some of the shots of the championship that we've seen over the last fortnight. Ken Doherty and the boys have been looking at the best of them.
Well, it's almost over, but what a fantastic tournament. Shots, haven't we? Like this one. And this. And what about this one? Fantastic. So now it's time to sit back and marvel at the top 10 shots of the championship. Enjoy.
Oh, goodness me.
41.
If you're going to keep playing those, you'll be working for the circus. What a shot that was.
How did you do that?
Black's a little awkward. Didn't play the pot. That is a very clever shot. This is a brilliant snooker. That is one of the best snookers you could ever wish to see.
That's pure genius.
And an exhibition shot here, trying to bring the Reds into play. And the cue ball there, absolutely never even touched the cushion. And from the angle he had, I don't know how he managed to get. This is what he's trying. He's trying to bring the two Reds out. But look at the way the cue ball arced. He got so much on it, he nearly missed the Reds.
Did that really just happen? Good shot.
He's going full-blooded by the looks of it for this difficult red. What a shot that is! What a shot under the circumstances. They don't come any better than that.
I've never seen anything like that in all my years.
Mark Williams has played the best shot of the championship so far. That would be a championship contender.
Magical, genius, fantastic.
This is another great safety shot. I mean, just brilliant.
Brilliant.
Did that go in, did it? What a shot that was.
Don't try that at home.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
What a shot that was. Woof. Unbelievable.
That was more incredible than me.
This is a very tough pot down the cushion, but with this fella you never know. Hey, what about that? And he's on the black. What about that for a shot? Wow.
And I do believe he had a bit of side on.
That defies the laws of physics. Incredible.
He played the pot, knew he'd catch the knuckle, would send the cue ball back to the ball end, but I've got to be honest with you, I didn't fancy him for that. When will I learn?
It was a straightforward pot, John. I'm surprised you never spotted that one. Probably the pot of this year's World Championship. An absolute gem.
It was indeed, and even egghead CJ Jamui getting in on the act there. Ken Doherty's at the table. Ken, you're number one. Why is it so special, and how difficult, she says, is it to recreate?
Hazel, this is the unbelievable shot, probably the best shot of the championship, as Dennis Taylor said. And the degree of difficulty, he has to pot the red into the corner and screw back into baulk. Now, if this was John Parrott, Steve Davis, they'd probably play safe and roll up to the back cushion. But it's not. It's Judd Trump, and he's only 21 years of age. So I'm going to have a go once, and you'll just try and see how difficult this shot is. So here we go. There you go. That was close, wasn't it? So if you tune in next year, I should have it by then.
Yeah, keep going, Kenny. All right. Now, before we got here to the Crucible Theatre for the championship, it had just a few weeks earlier played host to the Legends Tour. And amongst their new recruits this season is Canada's man in the white suit. Do you remember the controversial and the colourful Kirk Stevens?
I'm grateful for every day that I'm sober. This is just another gift of sobriety for me. I'm back here at playing snooker at the Crucible. I'm free. I feel like I'm free today, finally.
It used to seem to me that my life ran on too fast, and I had to take it slowly just to make the good parts last. But when you're born to run, it's so hard to just slow down.
I'm more nervous seeing my old friends, Dennis Taylor and, John Virgo and Cliff Thorne as well. Jimmy, especially, it was nice to see for me. I'm just excited about the whole thing. To be nervous, I don't play so well anymore, I can't see the long pots very well anymore.
I'll be back in the high life again. All the eyes that watched me once will smile and take me in.
I saw Cliff Thorne play when I was 12. You could play him. You could play them, but you could play them for $2, $5, $10, $20, $50, whatever you wanted to play them for. You know?
This kid came up to me, and I sort of heard that he was okay for his age. I don't know how old he was, maybe 12 or 13, and he asked me to play for $2.
I had $2 bills, right, and they weren't in very good shape. I think I left them in my hockey bag.
I took the money. I felt shameful taking the money, but he insisted that I take it, and it was probably the dirtiest money I've ever had in my pocket.
It was a thrill to play him, and especially to watch him, play. Because I never saw anything like that. Well, he was one of the best players in the world. Even back then, that had to be like 1970. I wasn't consistent. I wasn't as consistent as the great players were, and they could take that home. They did quarters, semi. They got a taste, final. They seemed to just, keep getting better. And I wasn't as good, as those guys.
I think with the right sort of schooling or being around the right people, being forced to practice, and he would have been up there with anybody. He was good enough to win the World Championship. I know that for a fact. And things happen, don't they?
Okay, honestly, what happened is I went to the tailors and I said, I'm playing in the World Championships. I need a couple of suits, but I didn't have a lot of money, and so he says, "There's one black one." He says, "I'll make a white one for you, nice." And I says, "Okay, that would be nice." People seemed to like it. There was a little buzz about it with the BBC, and so I kept it on. I was young, I thought I could, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't remember a lot of it. I remember a couple of balls that I made, a couple of balls to keep it going or to recover. And I remember the black. I remember the last black because I feel like I got a slight kick. You know what I mean? And I thought, not now. And I watched the black stay to the high part of the pocket. So when it went in, it was more, as much relief as celebration.
Get in, lovely, super.
I was delighted for him. I was very young, and one of the biggest matches of my career, and people still talk about that match now, and you just think it's just any old game, but it's stood the test of time.
The excitement was great. If I could have just, if I could have left everything on the table in the venue, after it was all over, the buzz, and left and left it there, it was fine. But that kind of buzz kind of would stay with you out on the street and, kind of wherever you went.
Kurt, Jimmy,
hello there.
If ever there was a justification for champagne, this is the night.
And I'd go out maybe with some people and have a couple of drinks, and I found that I kept staying out. They would go home, and especially London, this big city, there's lots of entertainment there. And I would stay out, and keep going. That's when things became a problem for me, I think. You're trying to get well in the public eye. I went to rehab. I think I stayed sober for about 6 months. And then eventually something happened and I started drinking again. But it's tough to deal with when you're in the public. Anyways, for me it was. I can't speak for anybody else because I was a little humiliated and I was a little bit lonelier over here.
When all the the snooker finished, and people go home to their families, he went home to sort of an empty flat, or he lived with different people. But he was always homesick. So then he got into a few bad things, and it sort of it caught up with him in the end.
Things got worse. They never get better. Especially once I knew, that the problems that I had, the issues that I had. Once I knew that, it never gets any better once you drink again. It always gets worse. Been just short of 2 years now, and it's great. I can't. I'm free. I feel like I'm free today, finally. From that. But it's nothing I take for granted. I work on this. I work on it every day. I'm conscious of it, and and I'm grateful for every day that I'm sober. Because had I not been, I don't think I'd be back here. I don't think this is just another gift of sobriety for me. I'm back here at playing snooker at the Crucible, seeing some old friends and talking with you.
Great to see, and very candid about his problems of the past, and great to see him healthy now, John.
Fantastic. I came late for that one. I was working at the Grand National, joined the lads later on, and it was just great to see him. Walked in, big hugs, smiles and everything. He's in great form. He's coming over for 3 shows in Ireland, which will be an absolute ball for all of us, and he still plays all right.
Yeah, generally speaking, the Legends Tour looks really great fun to be part of and to witness, indeed, from the crowd's point of view.
Yes, I think so, and it's a chance for some of the players who perhaps have dropped from the game to go out there and show what they can do, and also to entertain as well. It's not about winning or losing, it's about entertainment.
Indeed. Okay, well, those entertaining us right now, Judd Trump, John Higgins, they're coming back for 4 more frames this afternoon. Just gauge a little bit about what we might see over the coming 4. Obviously, even Stevens at the moment. What needs to happen at this part in the opening session? You've both been there, you both speak from experience.
I think for both players, they'd like to win in one contribution. It's the only thing we haven't really had. It's been a little bit bitty, a little bit scrappy. For both players, confidence-wise, they'd like to win a frame in one visit. I think that's what's missing at the moment.
Steve?
Just go out and play. That's all you can do. Both players are obviously looking forward to 4 sessions. I don't think any of them think it's going to be anything's going to change. It's not going to be a complete walkover one way or the other. You're just got to go out and play. It's 1 frame at a time, 1 ball at a time. That's all snooker is, and stay in the present.
And they've got a huge amount of support from their respective families. I know that John Higgins' family has come down, and we've seen Judd Trump's family up in the balcony areas looking down on him, and it all helps, I'm sure, when you're out there in the furore, John.
Wonderful to look up and see some friendly faces. That could be the loneliest chair in the world. I know, I've been on the end of it.
Okay, here we go. 4 more frames to play this afternoon, and we've got a change in the commentary box now, as you say. Good afternoon, Willy Thorne and John Virgo.
Good afternoon, Hazel. John Higgins gets the 5th frame underway, and both players now can settle. They've got the frames on the scoreboard. Judd Trump, of course, had the perfect start, winning the first 2 frames. That had settled him, but fair play to John Higgins, as we always know with John. Long way away with that one. But it looks as though it's going to run safe, so no harm done. Yes, Willie, when Judd Trump won the first 2 frames, John Higgins looked a little bit shaky, but as we know with John Higgins, he's got more than one way of playing or winning a frame.
Absolutely right, John, and when you consider he's only had 1 break over 30 in those first 4 frames, he levels at 2-2, which shows you, undoubtedly one of the game's great match players. I totally agree with most people who are thinking that Judd Trump could just motor through this match and pot everything, but over this distance you're going to have to compete in some slow games, some safety games, And if he can do that, he could certainly win the World Championship. But I don't think he'll be able to just pot his way to the World Championship.
Line of 4 reds here. I don't know whether the bottom one could go close to the left corner. We'll soon see. We'll soon see.
1.
And he's just about on the brown. Here we go. I mean, the speed it's gone into the pocket, if it gets in the jaws, it'd have stayed there. Can he get through to this? I think he tried to get through a gap
5.
and maybe flick off the reds for this red to the right of the black, but can he get through there? He thinks he can. Ooh, a little shake of the head then. If you notice that, he was down just about to hit it, and then he stopped himself and he just had a little shake of the head, which tells me, well, if that's Hawkeye's view, the player's view, he can get through to it.
You're not disagreeing with Hawkeye, John, are you?
Just caught it too thick. You can see the pain and anguish on his face. Dear me, that nearly dropped. When it caught the right-hand jaw, Willie, I thought there was no way for it to go in.
Yeah, played with a lot of side, didn't he, to try and help the pots. Obviously, our camera angle was telling us it was very tight. John Higgins, no problem in playing this punt, of course. If he hits the red, it goes in, so just be playing it for blue or bought colour.
1.
Wonderful views we can give you now. We're at the one table situation. 2 straight on the blue, but there's red over the right corner pocket. So no problem. Left corner as we look.
Essentially gets
6.
quite a lot off the cushion here. You play 2 cushions and needs to be at least 8 or 9 inches off the cushion to make the black an absolute certainty. You don't want to be cutting them back into the pocket.
Just stand still, please. Thank you.
And there's a couple of loose reds available. And that's just about to the inch.
7.
Now, some players have played through the gap here and just play into the pack, and knowing you're bound to be on one to the left or right, may decide to roll it in for the loose red, but Higgins is usually very attacking. Absolutely sure to be on one of the other reds if he does go into the bunch, but he doesn't fancy it. He's running through, maybe just a little lower on the black than he would like. Now, does he have an angle to get back under the black again?
14. Do you just want to hang on to... Can you just go in position now, please? Thanks. $15.
Just the run through off the second red, nicely.
$22.
If it's straight enough, he can just run through for the black in the opposite corner. And he'd like an angle on the black here to nudge into the reds. It's bound to be on the one that's over the pocket he's playing the black, and a chance to loosen some reds. Well, he didn't feel as though it was worth the risk, but
30.
he wasn't happy with the angle, so he needs a good angle now, because there's no loose reds about.
31.
The middle red of the three on the right, he'd like to arc the cue ball into that gap there. Didn't quite get the arc, did he? It came very late. He hit the outside one of the three. He still has reds in the middle.
38.
A little bit fortunate really to get onto that red, because he tried to get into that middle red of those three there, and that would have opened the lot up. Fortunate to have one over the middle.
$39. $44.
Control cannon there, didn't go into them in any pace. He's on this red to the right corner. Whether he can, I don't think he can get on the black. He'll be screwing up for pink or blue here. If he plays it hard, he's just got to watch the left middle. Well, he got two reds. He doesn't
46.
mind at the moment. That's the thing that John Higgins is concentrating on now. Just get enough points so that Judd Trump will need a snooker, and that's two reds. He won't mind that.
Got a little bit too much into the cue ball there. That's just about the only place it's not good.
51.
He had about 6 inches of space to play in and left of the pink, and just got a little bit too much side as he hit the second cushion. Judd looks on knowing that this red is now missable. Just that little bit too much side there. Just want a little less side and he would come inside the pink and been perfect on both reds. As it is, he's got a very tough shot to play with the rest, and he's 46 in front, so not over the line yet.
It is.
You see it, 46 ahead, 75 remaining. Missed the red, play with an element of safety. That cue ball's close to the corner, but it's
Higgins,
okay.
51.
Didn't really fully commit to the pot, and with a 46-point lead, can't really blame him. Well, it was half a chance, but in all fairness, Judd knows if you're going to miss that, you're going to miss it on the thin side, not on the thick side. Chance for John Higgins.
One.
Well, the kiss always helps. Miss the kiss, no pot on, have to play a snooker. Kiss on any of the baulk colours always leaves a thin cut on one colour or the other. This time he's got thin ones on green and brown. Need at least 2 more reds after potting this green with colours, and that'll make the frame safe.
Well, he looked at that and a little shake of the head. Now, can he get past the pink to pot this red?
Sorry.
And I'm looking at his body language and he can't.
4.
Well, we say this game's all about fraction. If that cue ball had run on another half an inch, he'd have had a straightforward red. And then surely you'd say he clinched the frame, but it's just stopped short. And the red to the left of the pink is not an easy pot by any means.
Well, what a good recovery. As John rightly said, wasn't on the desired red, but that was very, very missable. The crowd warmly appreciating how difficult that cut was. OK, he was relying on good fortune to where the cue ball would finish, but he played it in such a way that he was likely to come in and out of baulk and deserved to win the frame from that shot, which he looks like doing now.
8.
Yeah, it was one of those, as thin as you can. And the cue ball finished nicely on the baulk colour. And that red
9.
puts him 55 points in front, with just 51 remaining, and a nice easy pink.
15. 16.
No way that Judd Trump will be coming back to the table now. I mean, Judd Trump knows the task in hand when you're playing someone of the experience and ability of John Higgins.
23.
He won the first 2, that would have settled him, but losing the next 3 will be a little bit
24.
of a shock to the system. But plenty of time to get going again. It's best of 35 now, of course, the final, first to 18.
31.
I think this final is probably as exciting as one we've had for many years.
Okay.
It's got everything really, hasn't it, Willy? Experience. We've got the flair and flamboyance of Judd Trump, the youngster.
37.
All the ingredients to make it a great end to what has been a great tournament.
39.
Yes, different format this year. We're playing 9 frames this evening, 8 this afternoon, 9 this evening, and starting a little earlier tomorrow for the final sessions. 7 o'clock we start tonight, 9 frames
42.
being played. So there's 17 total played today. I suppose already you'd be thinking of, maybe 9-8 the worst way to say
46.
you're still in the match. Any other scoreline, you start to be worried for the man that's behind. Oh, a little trick shot from John.
51.
Yeah, a little bit of right hand, well, a lot of right hand side.
57.
Well, he run out of position a couple of times, just by fractions, but in the end, John Higgins got his last chance and took it. And from being 2-0 behind, he now leads Judd Trump 3-2.
And that's sure to have cheered the Higgins family, who are all up in the Players' Lounge. And let's hear from some of Judd's family supporters now, because his brother has been here for the last fortnight as Jack in his corner, as indeed has one of his great family friends, Ryan. Rishi has caught up with them both.
Well, I've been joined by Judd Trump's brother Jack and his friend Ryan. Guys, first of all, how did Judd react last night to that victory that got him into the final?
Well, obviously he was buzzing. Just been an amazing month, really, and well, he's still as relaxed as ever, really, but you wouldn't tell. But yeah, inside he must be absolutely over the moon, really.
Ryan, was there any celebration last night?
We were tempted to a few drinks, but we thought we'd better go to bed early. We just relaxed, really, just went out for a meal. Nothing ever phases Judd. He's just always got his game face on. Nothing ever bothers him.
Did he sleep all right last night?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sharing a room with Judd. He sleeps like a baby. Keeps me up all night snoring, but I'll let him off. It's the World Championships, so...
How's he dealing with the newfound stardom, especially after his great run here at the Crucible?
I think he's coping with it really well. He was really good under sort of pressure, so you wouldn't, like I said, you wouldn't be able to tell anything any different really. So yeah, he's taken it all in his stride.
And how do you think he'll get on in this final?
If he can play the way he can, then he can beat anyone. Nothing phases Judd. He's so relaxed. If he plays the way he does, then he can do it. He can definitely do it.
And I've heard a lot about what he wants to do with the money. He intends to spend it on a sports car. Anyone giving him some other ideas of what he could spend his money on?
Take me on holiday.
Anywhere nice? Where in particular?
Las Vegas.
And you?
Vegas. We're definitely going to Vegas. But no, I think he wants a Lamborghini or Ferrari, but I don't think he can afford the insurance for that. So
he deserves it.
He deserves it. Yeah. Maybe an Audi R8. I'm not sure yet.
Guys, thanks for talking to us. Hope you enjoy it.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, Richard.
Cheers. Thanks.
That's interesting to hear two pals there. They're talking about Lamborghinis and things like that. Goodness me. Good early red from Judd. I don't think the cue ball's coming far enough to leave a potable brown, so maybe just a safety. Okay, you're reasonably happy that you can tuck him in behind the brown if you don't fancy the clip. Well, he looks like he fancies the clip, so maybe you ought to get into the bunch of two cushions or one. Well, one cushion, well played, Judd Trump. That was very, very aggressive. And I've got to be honest, I think that is the way that Judd has to play. He can't get involved in safety battles with John Higgins. This was very aggressive, and boy, did these balls move. All of them bar one. The red just to the left of the pink was the only ball that didn't move there.
Well, very attacking shot. I think the big problem he's got a couple of easy starters, but the black's not available at the moment in any of the corner pockets. So ideally, with the pink a little bit tied up, he needs to be thinking about getting on the blue. On the left-hand side there's two reds, one near the cushion, the one up. I don't know if he pots that makes the black available into the corner. It didn't, so up for blue or bought colour.
6.
This is in a break, you've just got to be a little bit patient with your shot choice.
Yeah, the reds have gone perfect now, and in a couple of seconds I'm sure black or pink will be in play. So this is an excellent opportunity for Judd. Excuse me. Not nicely on a red though here, and it's going to be tough to get onto a colour.
Well, you say that, Willie. I think he may just be able to get through to this red to the right corner. He's not looked at it yet, but I think he can. If he was touching the red in the middle, I think he may be snookered on it, but I think he can just squeeze past it. He can.
He's had a good look at the black, obviously. He feels it doesn't pot, so looks like he can roll through with a little bit of right hand side just to straighten it up off the cushion to miss the kiss on the red and be on blue or bought colour. I presume the black doesn't pot, otherwise we'd already been down on this red and knocked it in. Let's just see if it'll pass the red. Well, it's very tight, as you can see. You can just about see the middle of the pocket. They're okay if you directly smack behind them, you'd pot the black, but when you high or low on the black, it's amazing how difficult they become. I wouldn't risk it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the reason he's looking at the black, you'd think go up for the blue, but he's playing with left-hand side. You've got to be very careful with these. So in the end, needs a bump off the middle there. He's tried to force it up with a cannon off the second red, and he didn't judge it very well.
Judd Trump, 11.
Well, that was an excellent roll-up. We say many times, particularly on these super fine cloths, how difficult they are. Little tap on the table from John Higgins. Very difficult to get it tight, and lovely touch he showed there.
Well, if he's got away with that, he's been fortunate, but I think he can get through to the red. Just might need the spider, though, to pot it, and I don't think he can get onto a colour nicely, because if he stops it dead, as if to play for the black, the red's in the way, isn't it? So he's done just about as good as he could there, John Higgins, to have got away with that. Very fortunate. Slight angle, though, might be able to get up to a blue or bought colour. Oh yes, the outside red potted, so no problem. Be disappointed now at this second opportunity if he doesn't get a chance to win the frame at this visit.
Four. 5.
At least if he pots the one that's a bit further out from the cushion, he'll make way for the black here. I don't know whether you can risk playing for the black off this red. Maybe up for the blue again. Well, he decided he'd go up for a bought colour, and I can understand that. At least with a bought colour, you've got choices. If it had come the wrong side of the blue, then it would have been a bit difficult, but he's not in close control. This could be the key shot to this frame. What's the position going to be like off that yellow? Looking good. It's okay. He'd like 13. To have been one on the corner and play for the black, but he can run through for the blue. And was guaranteed 14. The perfect angle. Great chance now. There you see it, player's view, perfectly on the blue. And in playing this red, if he judges the cannon right
19.
On the second red, can get the black into play.
$20.
Black or pink, whichever he feels is the better one.
$27. $28.
Well, he was trying to pinch a bit because he didn't want to cannon the pink any thicker than he did. So much so, he nearly missed the red.
Getting ever closer to the winning line now. The lead goes to 44.
33.
So 3 more reds will be enough.
34. $41.
He just didn't get right on that red, otherwise he could have held for the black and the black would have been enough. So after this blue, looking for one more red doesn't seem a problem, but you never know. So there you see it, 58 ahead, 59 remaining. Pot the red, go 59 ahead with only 51 left.
48. 54.
This is Judd's now highest break in the match so far, when you consider
55.
he's won 2 frames and without a tie break. Made lots of contributions of 40, 3 40s and a 30, plus this contribution as well.
60. $61.
Well, he managed to creep behind the black, so still the possibilities of a first century in this final.
69.
Very measured approach he's taken in this break. I think he realised the importance of this frame.
$75. 76. Sorry. 77. Thanks. 80. 84. 89.
Well, this could be his 8th Crucible century this year. And the 71st Crucible
95.
century. And to be perfectly honest, he couldn't have played them better. That was as the audience put their turn-up banners up, Judd Trump's family very happy, and I think rightly so, because he'd just lost 3 on the trot, and to reply with a century, his first class is all square at 3 all.
So Mark Williams is the man who leads with the most number of centuries, but Judd Trump is gaining fast. That's his 8th, putting him level with John Higgins and Mark Selby. Ronnie's stuck in 7th, along with Ding Junhui. And overall, this particular championship is second only in terms of the number of century breaks to that from 2009. So the standard has been extraordinarily high. It's good stuff so far in this final, isn't it?
It certainly is, Hazel. And, well, Willie, what a shot this was.
Well, I think he's decided, John, is 3-2 behind, getting a little bit boxed in, and all of a sudden this was one where he thought, well, if it goes in, I'm going to split the reds. But boy, did he split them. Unfortunately, didn't win the frame at that visit.
Yeah, well, I suppose in a way he was a little unlucky that the black was unavailable into either corner and the pink was tied up a bit. So yes, he did need the 2 chances, but it was a measured approach to the break that impressed me there.
John Higgins to break.
Well, there's Shane from Westlife on the front row, big snooker fan. And funny enough, Judd Trump was actually tweeting his pals and in the interval, and he was thinking about asking John Higgins whether he could go and sit next to Shane while they were playing. Shane's pals there just got the earpiece in and having a little smile. I'm sure they'll be enjoying this game. Are you enjoying it, guys? Little nod, thank you very much. Uncle Willie talking to you. Oh, what a great pot that was. Unlucky you got a bad contact. Fabulous pot. In fairness, sometimes, John, a kick can help you. This may be one of the times where it does.
Well, I know what you're saying. It's left him low on the black, and which gives him a good angle to go into them. But of course, at pace, the black is missable.
Now that is the way to stun into the pack. A lot of players play to screw in the pack there, and you get an active white and it sometimes screws back off the pack. Amazingly there, stun into the pack, and that usually splits them perfectly, which it has done there.
Yes, when you open them like this, you're just looking for an easy starter. He's got one. He won't be bothered really which colour he plays for, as long as he gets good on the colour and the black available into both corners. Well, he could play for the black.
9.
Great chance to win the frame in one visit.
Yes, and I've been handed an interesting stat, John. Over the last
16.
25 years, only 3 players have come from behind after the first 8 frames to win the championship. So it's very important, if you're looking at stats, for Judd not to be behind going into this second session. And of course, if he wins his frame, he can't be behind. Just in case you're wondering what the 3 players are that have won after losing the first session, Neil Robertson beat Graham Dott in 2010. Sean Murphy beat Matthew Stevens in 2005, and Ronnie beat Graham Dott in 2004. Every other time a player's been behind after the first session, he's lost.
Just giving this a bit of thought. He's got an easy enough red. It's just deciding which colour to play. And he doesn't want to risk playing for the black, but he maybe is doing.
25.
He knew he couldn't get inch perfect on the black. There was a noise there just as he was going to deliver the cue. Good thinking, get up, start again. Well done. He'd love to be on the red to the right of the blue, but he'd maybe run a fraction too far.
32.
The problem is, you see, if he plays for the black on the right-hand side of the table as we look, there's a couple of reds just to the right of the black that could get in the way. He'd love to have had this red to get nice on the blue, but has he judged it? Judged 33. It to perfection.
$40. $41.
Not happy with the contact again, but no problem with the position. It's finished just as good as it could have done. It's got a perfect angle on the black to get on choice of 5 or 6 reds, funny enough here. Just play through the gap of the reds on the right hand side, and that's going to avail 3 reds. So there's the little gap he's playing. Perhaps it could have been a fraction harder, but he's still on the bottom red.
Yes, the thing that'll disappoint him, he's on the red, but I don't know whether he can play for the black. But I think the blue's available into the right centre pocket. As long as he gets the right side of the blue, that's okay. Well, he felt he could stay on the black.
49.
And that was nice. I didn't know whether he could avoid the kiss on the second red. And obviously if you can stay at this end around the black, this is where a player practices most of
56.
all, in and around the black spot area. This is where you do
57.
most damage. And this black will put him 64 points in front, so Just another couple of reds and colours needed.
$64.
And of course, don't know whether to mention or not, but it's 8 reds, 8 blacks. I wouldn't be pushing the boat out for a maximum. I think the winning of the frame is more important.
Well, the kiss he got on the red and screwing back off the cushion has not left him on the desired red. I don't think he's got anything. He's straightforward here. The red passes up by the yellow. I think he should take that on as a shot to nothing and probably play for the green, the one next to the blue, but he's looking at the more difficult one, so it looks like he's going for the max. Dangerous. When he played it in the middle, which is even more dangerous.
Judd Trump, 64.
At this stage of the game, John, choice of shot, probably wrong.
Yeah, and I think, in all honesty, because there's no special prize for the 147, why bother? Give John Higgins half a chance here to get right back in this frame.
One.
Well, there's no need for John to play the cannon here, but he could easily get onto choice of reds. With the brown being off its spot, he's just got a little careful. If he plays off one cushion, or sorry, 2 cushions, he might be going very close to the middle pocket. So that's the reason he played round the cushions rather than just off the 2 cushions. I don't think he's hit this very good.
5.
Nowhere near where he played.
Sure. Okay.
Judd back in his seat. I mean, he could have rolled this in and I'd have fancied him to pot it, but not at that speed.
Six.
And if the red wasn't tight on the baulk cushion, I would suggest that John Higgins is almost favourite to win this frame, but that last red still gives Judd an extra chance, I feel, because he, in about 12 shots time, he needs to be virtually
13.
directly behind that red.
Well, has he left himself hampered here?
20.
I think he has. Can he just get past the black? This is not how he played to be on the red. But a good shot. He made light of what was a difficult one there.
Okay.
Be interesting to see how John
28.
plays for position if he gets these next 2 reds and colours, how he plays for that last red, whether he'll go for a baulk colour off the penultimate red. There's still plenty of points available. 51 on, of course, at the minute. I suppose he'll be playing for one of the baulk colours off this last red now to make it almost a certainty to get on the red. Will he get on it properly? So anything but straight in a couple of shots' time for that last red. He does have a slight angle here. He wants to be
36.
a little bit risky to play the cannon on the red, but there's a bit of value in it, I promise you. I mean, the only way that it can go wrong if he kisses it full ball and the white stays on the cushion. Any other kiss on the red, the white's going to come out into open play, and he'll certainly have a shot in the middle pockets available. I think, in fairness, this is worth the risk. And he has risked it. Oh, he missed it by a fraction. It's still okay, though.
37.
This was always going to be the problem, and I think he's just a little bit too straight to bring the white in and out of baulk.
41.
There you can see just off straight. Oh, goodness me. Well, you just can't hit a shot better than that.
42.
You cannot hit a shot better than that. And in fairness, it might have turned out good because he can take the yellow now. Just look at the power he put into this, and it went right in the middle of the pocket. He's hit it that well, is on the yellow, which is a bonus to get that back in its spot. Just when you were thinking that was going to be an unbelievable clearance, Judd Trump has been given a lifeline. John Higgins knows he should have won from there.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, how many times a player gets in and then all of a sudden you think he's done all the hard work, and maybe the player himself does, and just took his eye off the ball, literally. And that's a super shot from Judd Trump. And the old problem, the age-old problem, can he hit the yellow and leave it safe? Well, he's gone enough, but
Judd Trump 4.
He'll settle for that. Although I think the missed pot on the yellow is still in John Higgins' mind.
26 in front now, so only the yellow needed. And does this creep into the middle? Looks very tight from here. No, with the cue ball there, he's not playing the pot. Might try and get this safe.
Well, he's got it safe, but it's not a good shot, that. Should have made it a little bit more difficult for John Higgins than this.
Asking for trouble, John, wasn't he, playing it like that? Asking for trouble. And that's exactly what he's got. As you rightly say, John, that was really a poor safety shot. You can't just leave the white in the middle of the table with somebody like John.
No, and if he was going to play it, in all fairness, I think he should have put the cue ball in between the green and brown rather than keeping it so straight. So Judd needs a bit of luck here. Easy hit. Can he get it safe? He can.
This may be a little bit too hard. Oh, he caught the black. That may have just travelled over the pocket. Didn't play that shot well. It's turned out okay, though.
Well, snooker would have been handy, but decent safety that. He was in a little spot of bother there, was Judd. Now, does this yellow pass the pink? If it does, it's a chance. If it doesn't, which it doesn't, so it's a pretty straightforward safety. Just don't catch the yellow too thin. plenty of balls to hide behind, but would you believe it? He's found a gap.
Well, that is very unlucky. Couldn't have played it a lot better, that shot, Judd. We criticised him at a shot he played earlier on, but that is very unlucky. Got it safe the last time he was snookered.
Thanks, Judd.
Can he get it safe this time? It's one of these you have to hit and hope, really. I mean, you want to leave plenty of distance between cue ball and object ball, and the only problem is if he catches it full, the yellow may cannon into the green, so that's what he's got to miss the green with the yellow, which he has done, and he's played that brilliantly. Well played.
Well, it's not a snooker, but I don't think Judd can get through to the potting angle of this yellow. And if he can't get through to the potting angle of this yellow, then it's not a straightforward safety, really. Well, that was the danger. That was the danger. He was trying to hit it through the gap, up and down, and it's caught the brown, and he's left it.
One thing that come to Judd's rescue here, he's got to miss the kiss on the black and pink on the way back. Plain ball, he'd virtually kiss the black off the back cushion, so he may have to play a stun in between the black and pink. Don't think he can just get up and down off one cushion. Well, he thought he could. Oh dear. It was fraught with danger playing that shot, one cushion. But if the green goes in, he'll be around the back of the blue and perfect on the brown. This was a very dangerous way to play it. Played it two cushions. So with the rest around the back of the blue, straight on the brown in the middle. There's going to be plenty of frames that maybe one player should have won in this match, John, but this could be the first body blow for Judd. This was a frame he definitely should have won. Might still.
Nine.
Well, he's come very straight, and he's a little bit closer to this cushion than he'd like to be. So it's not a formality yet. He needs the three remaining colours.
$14.
Can he reach it without the rest?
Well, a choice.
Settle down, please.
Left middle or far left. I think left middle would be the choice here. And that was definitely a frame that Judd Trump will think he should have won. John Higgins, when he missed the easy yellow, you thought as he lost his chance, but he got another one. Judd Trump now 4-3 behind.
And that is simply what John Higgins has been doing brilliantly all championship. He's just been stealing the crucial frames at the key moments, Steve.
Yes, and they can all add up at the end when it comes to that last session. The what-ifs and all those frames can add up. Judd Trump was first in amongst the balls. He chose what looked like the very risky red into the middle pocket to screw back to continue the chance of the 147. He may not have had any other options, but he could have rolled the red in, but he wouldn't have been on a good colour. So, all in all, a turning point perhaps, mini one.
Your view, John, of how adept that Higgins seems to be at moments like that?
Well, very. I was actually quite impressed with Judd there. I mean, after John missed the yellow, which I thought he was going to get, he played it brilliantly. Judd played a cracking safety shot after that to actually put him in trouble. Played some really good safety himself, but ultimately left the yellow over the middle pocket. But Higgins is a master at it. I mean, he's brilliant in amongst the balls. He can score heavily himself, but tactically very astute. And then he just jumps on his opponent's mistakes and he wins frames he shouldn't win, and that at the end of it can add up.
Indeed it can. We're actually getting a lot of contact via Twitter with many people who are watching this. Jimmy White's been on, and Jimmy says good luck to Judd Trump. He's hoping that Judd does well here. He says this has the makings of a true classic, this final, and has hopefully started a new era in snooker. And Jimmy also goes on to say Judd is so entertaining. I love his flare shots, and it reminds me so much of myself at this age. Go and win it, Judd. This from the man who so poignantly, of course, had so much talent, got to the final 6 times and just couldn't capture the crown that his talent so richly deserves. So he is in Judd's camp today, and at the moment his pick is a frame down. This is the last of the afternoon session.
And with that stat that we mentioned earlier on of 25 years here at the Championship, only 3 players would come from behind after losing the first session. You would have to hope that Judd wins this frame to make that not another possible run of 22 years where the loser is always lost. So this is a very important frame. Plenty of time to go. 9 frames this evening. Well, if he's not on a colour there, he's absolutely cursed. That is incredible. No matter how good you are, you've got to have a bit of good form now and again. The pot red round the angles was another one of Judd Trump's specials. And okay, you might get another chance, but it's always nice to get the first one. This was a beautiful pot. Just flicked the red when coming back into balk, and that took him into balk.
Sorry.
Well, how many more times is he going to be unlucky? Let's just go back to the last frame when he was on a maximum, as we see this going again. He screwed back off the black, he half-ball kissed the red, which covered both reds up. He potted a brilliant red very early in this frame, finished right on the baulk line, couldn't play a pot. Another brilliant pot, right in the middle of blue and pink. It's not going his way at the moment. This is missable.
Thanks. Judd Trump 1.
Don't blame him at all, John, for taking that on. That was a shot that maybe 50-50, 60-40, but that was, you know, you can't question that shot selection.
Well, is he on anything? I'm looking at
8.
John's body language and I'd say not. Well, nothing easy anyway. He can't get to the one that I assume he thought he'd be on, to the left corner, because that's covered by the pink.
John Higgins, 8.
So just the safety. He seemed to play that with a lot of gusto, did he? He sort of tentatively played it as though, well, thinking I'm bound to be on something, but he may well have been if he'd have kissed the pink. Not the best of safety shots from John Higgins, catching the ground, full in the face, leaving the cue ball on the baulk line. And you know it doesn't take a lot to tempt Judd Trump into going for a pot. Just like that.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Oh, the exuberance of youth. What a special shot that was, and played as a shot to nothing.
Seven. Eight. Yeah. 13.
It's a little bit risky to play for the black because these reds that may just block his path. That's where he wants to be if he's playing for it. No further
14.
than that. No further. I think he's bounced a fraction too far. He has.
Yes, if he'd have got just a little bit more check side on that blue when he, on the red when he played it, it just didn't quite have enough check side to just slow it down off the cushion. And as JV put the little circle up to show you where he could finish, he's not enough check side there. This is dangerous, isn't it? You keep saying it's dangerous, John, but it's just like over the pocket, really, one of those.
Well, there's all kinds of pressure on a shot like
19.
this. But boy, did he play it well. And this time he didn't risk playing on the black
20.
because these reds on either side of the black that just make it a little bit awkward. Now, one good positional shot, and he's got a frame-winning opportunity. But it's not just that straightforward. Not yet. This could be the key.
Looks like he's just that nicely to get the gap. And I think on reflection of today's play, it'd be almost injustice if
25.
Judd Trump didn't level at 4-4. I think it's just about a fair result of this session. Oh, he's got another bad contact
26.
though. That cue ball would have been 3 or 4 inches off the cushion. More. Let's just have a look, see if we can spot it on the red. Just a little bounce, that's all. Deadens the white when you get a kick. Just took that 3 or 4 inches of pace out of the cue ball. Now, I'm not saying this is going to miss the black, but it's certainly a lot more difficult. we've mentioned before, the cloth has been recovered. That wouldn't have gone in yesterday. It's amazing that now they can put a new cloth on and it makes that much difference, but boy, it does.
$39.
33 points of lead. Straightforward red with black to follow. He's just wondering what comes after the black, whether he has to play a cannon or he can get on one without disturbing that little cluster of 5.
$40.
Well, he maybe feels, because he's not got a great angle on the black to play the cannon, he maybe feels he can play for the one immediately above the black. Quick glance at the scoreboard, pots his black, goes 41 points in front, but still 67 remaining. That's where he thinks if he leaves the cue ball, he'll have a go at this bottom red of the 5. It's too hard. I think he's much too hard and he shows his disgust.
47.
So he's not going to win it at this visit.
I think he was suggesting he got a bad bounce there, John, but he potted the black thin, didn't he? Which obviously would have meant that the white didn't have off a thicker contact. The white wouldn't have gone that high. But just have a look at the way the black went in, John.
Yeah, just a little bit thinner potting angle or contact than he would have liked. He's got to be careful here. I mean, there's a nice target behind yellow, brown and pink if he can get the cue ball there. Another glance at the scoreboard, 41 points in front, as I say, 67 remaining. Just concentrate, I would suggest, on getting a good white.
It's not a real problem bringing the reds into play, as long as John rightly says, you get a good white. That's the key thing. You know, if they pot a good ball off the white tight on the cushion, good luck to them. But just make sure you get that right on the top cushion.
Yeah, he's got to play for the baulk cushion here. As I say, it's a good target, yellow, brown and pink. He can't just run off him because then he'd leave John Higgins an easy safety.
Judd Trump, 47.
We just caught the green, but it's okay. It's okay. He's a little bit fortunate. There was a couple of reds that were onto the right corner, but the green has blocked the path to those. Now John Higgins has just had a look at this red in the middle of the table. Will it go through the gap of those two reds to the right corner? It did. Well, isn't that amazing? 1. Great pot, though.
Switch the mobile off, please.
Go back to Judd's safety. He shouldn't have been anywhere near the green when playing twice across, but very unlucky, I suppose, really, to leave once you'd got away with it as far as the two easy reds were concerned. Just left a smidgen of a gap. Oh, there's another mobile gone off, I'm afraid, right on the shot.
Make sure it's switched off now, please.
Oh, I'm to leave the auditorium, one of the players, one of the guests, I should say. Probably forgot how to switch his mobile off. It's the button on the top, sir. A lot of concentration into that green, having been stopped in his tracks, and boy oh boy, the last frame Judd Trump with a certainty, 64-0 in front, lost it. This time Best part of 40 points in front. Will he lose this one as well?
Five.
It's amazing. Somebody of John's class misjudged the cannon there. He was not even playing the cannon. He's just playing to hit it thin and get up for the blue. He didn't realise he was kissing the red. Oh, the Judd Trump special needed from John Higgins. Well, he was up to the task. Once again, though, lost the cue ball. Not perfect.
10.
Well, that was unlucky. He must have got a bad contact because there's no way he could have missed that red by that much. But he may have been fortunate. I mean, the red just went straight on. John Higgins could not possibly have missed a pot by that distance. But it's safe, and the red that's closest to the right corner he can't get through to. He'd love to play safe off it if he could, but I don't think that's an option. He can't get through to the red in the middle of the table because of the blue. Got a problem here.
Well, at first glance, John, the only thing I can see is play the cross double, get the white in the jaws of the yellow pocket, and that covers the red over the corner with the yellow and blue, but where's the red going that he's doubling?
Yeah, I'm just having a close look again there, from looking from behind the pocket, and if he can snick the red that's closest to the pocket, then I'd rather try and play safe off that. I mean, someone with Judd's cue power, he may decide to hit one red onto the other possible plant, but there's a danger the second red could come back up to the balk end with the cue ball. You know, just to move the red away from the corner.
Yeah, I don't mind that shot because he's blessed with a wonderful cue power, but I still fancy that little cross double, John, and get the white in the jaws of the yellow pocket.
The only thing he's got to be careful if he did play that would be the double kiss.
And your choice, I think. Screw back and move both reds away. Oh, wow, he nearly got the... Where's the red going?
Where's the red going? Where's it going? Would you believe it?
Well, good news and bad news. Good luck and bad luck. The good luck is he potted the red. The bad luck is not on a colour.
Well, when you get a little bit of luck like that, there's no such thing as bad luck. I think I'd be happy just to be able to lay up behind the yellow, because if that red doesn't go in, John Higgins could have stole the frame. He nearly got the plant. And then all of a sudden, we're thinking, the red's over the pocket, is it? In it goes. And John Higgins now with a big problem. 32 points behind. How do you hit the red and get this safe?
Well, obviously trying to pot it, but also get a good cue ball. He hasn't done. Oh, you're kidding. How's he hit that one? As it happens, though, Judd would rather have hit it than missed it, because the white would have been on the cushion. This is obviously now a chance that Judd will certainly take.
Yes, a red and a blue would do it. Red and a blue would put him 38 points in front with just 35 remaining. He's played it nicely.
Well, warmly appreciated from this packed Crucible audience. And I think, as I've said before in commentary, I think 4-4 is about the fairest result we could have got from the afternoon's play.
Judd Trump,
but
6.
Against John Higgins, you cannot afford to do that. John Higgins is a master at getting snookers.
Well, that's just so careless, isn't it? And if he pots the red, John Higgins wouldn't have bothered coming back to the table. He's not potted the red, and he's not certain to win the frame now.
And I think he's got the snooker. Now just consider if that red had gone 2 inches harder and been virtually on top of the brown, how difficult an escape it would be. OK, the one cushion escape's on now, but he knows if he misses it, it could be very costly indeed. JB's just put a line up for me there. That's the easy escape, but of course if you miss it, you're likely to leave a free ball. I think, John, at this situation, you just got to make sure, even if you just play the one cushion and make sure you hit the red.
Absolutely. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about getting the red safe, because John Higgins needs a snooker. Just make certain you hit it. You can't come round off 2 cushions because the yellow covers half of the red. Good hit. Just having a look there. the balcony is family up there. Oh, it's nail biting stuff, folks.
John's just deciding whether it's worth just potting the red and potting a large colour rather than keep the red on. It's not easy to keep the red on and get safe here. Just having a quick look at the scoreboard, 38 behind. Had to play for the black or the pink there, and it's not necessary on either.
No, he'd like to have had that again. Couldn't play for the blue because that meant he'd have needed 2 snookers. He's got to pot this black, otherwise it's frame over.
Well, that's the handshake from John Higgins in a very interesting session of snooker. This young player, Judd Trump, shows he's not going to be frightened of John Higgins. Both players share the opening 8 frames, and it's all square at 4-all.
Oh, it's had everything so far, hasn't it? We've had a centre, we've had an outrageous steal from John Higgins there. Overall, how do you rate it so far, Steve?
Fascinating stuff, all to play for, obviously. Judd Trump let the last 2 frames slip away from him. John Higgins took one of them at the second bite, and that one he messed it up a bit towards the end, didn't he, John?
Yeah, very unusual to see John pot that red there, because sometimes when you're stretching across with the extension on your cue, you can't quite generate the power to get back down for the black, so we were both a little bit surprised he took the red off the table there.
Yeah, significant shots in that frame, you reckon?
Obviously that last red, I mean, coming back to the snooker again, I mean the one that Judd missed, I mean Judd's missed a red at the end there, which is very careless. He's potted a screaming blue at the start of it.
Indeed,
I mean, there was so many shots in this frame to pick one, but this one, I mean, you think you're over the line. I've done it a million times, and I'm sure Steve's done it on occasions, that you think you're over the line, and you've won the frame, you don't concentrate, and you go and miss it, and you could give yourself some more grief.
And you know that snooker's Terminator, as you called him the other day. Higgins is on your tail. He never ever lies down.
No, he doesn't know, but Judd got away with that one, and so I think a fair result 4-all. These are the opening jousts of both players, the first chapter of 4. So I suppose both players can consider this is the starter, the order before the main course.
Indeed.
We really get tucked in.
I just wonder at what point, because you've stayed the course many times between you in this championship, at what point do your previous 2 weeks and your previous matches start to play a factor in this final, John?
Depends on the scoreline. I've had both ends of it. I got thumped by Steve in one of them and had no way out of it, mentally gone and couldn't fight there and didn't have any left in me. And the other time I was in front and playing great, and it was, you know, a totally different kettle of fish. came here relatively fresh, didn't have a great season the year I won, and came here and had a lot left in the locker. But if you have a hard season and you come here, sometimes it can catch up with you. It just depends on what you like.
What did you feel about that, Steve?
I think the adrenaline got you over the line, regardless of, even though you were very tired. There's not that much time between the afternoon session and the evening session, but it does help if you play your frames quickly, as is the modern day way. So you have more time in between to just relax, unwind a fraction, and then build up again for a practice session before you go back out again.
Well, we've had 3 hours of play, effectively, this afternoon, and they've got another 2 to wait before they get back out again. As guys who know the drill here, what's the menu for you over the next couple of hours, would you imagine?
Just try and relax as much as you can. Obviously, have something to eat. It's not something you're so hyped on adrenaline. It's not something you can't go back and have a big roast dinner. It's not one of those things. You're picking at your food and getting something that you know is going to hamper you later on.
Steve?
Yeah, I think if you're the type of person that can shut your eyes and relax for 20 minutes, then do that, get away from everybody. But then others like to be around their friends and family and not stop talking for the day. So it's just how you are as an individual.
How did you prefer to do it?
I prefer to go into a quiet room on my own and meditate, a little bit of that, or something along those lines.
Just like he is now. Never changed.
All right, well, it's been a fascinating first 8 frames. They will return to play 9 frames this evening in this best of 35 frames affair. And as the boys were saying, they'll probably just get a little bite to eat, have a chat with their respective families. And then before you know it, we will be underway again at 7 o'clock with the second act in our Crucible drama in this championship final. So we'll hope to see you then. In the meantime, bye-bye.